What's up, folks? It's Invisible Walls, episode 106, right here at GameTrailers.com. What a good day it is to play video games. And here to talk about video games is Miguel Lopez.
Hello. I thought you were gonna say Miguel Lopez or Baba.
You're waiting for your adjectives.
Yeah. Hi guys. Sorry about that.
Ryan Stevens.
Yes, I am here and present.
Justin Spear.
Yeah, I'm here too.
And me.
Everyone's here.
And me, Shane Satterfield. I apologize. My allergies have been kicking my ass lately, so my voice is even more nasally than usual, but we'll try to fight through it. Got a big show. Let's get straight to it.
And some Halo giveaways later on.
In a horror story, the victim keeps asking why, but there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to say about this game that we're about to talk about is it's about damn time. Alan,
The break,
wait,
fourth,
I didn't
the
know
rhythm,
this
and the rhyme.
I didn't know if this game would ever come out, ever.
Yeah, the first time I saw it was at X06 in 2006,
Wow.
and
Wow.
yeah,
Here we are 4 years later.
right, and that wasn't even when it was announced. I think that was the first time they showed it.
No, it was at X05.
It was there
There's
too.
trailers from 05, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Well, yeah, it's been.
And here we are 5 years later.
Yeah. Remedy does have a much smaller team than a lot of studios. I think they have only like 40, 45 full-time employees compared to usually around 100. But still, 5 years is that's some Duke Nukem shit we're talking about.
Did you guys ever get the feeling that they were trying to release that as an episodic game, but that model never took off like they thought it might?
I mean, looking at how the game turned out,
Maybe.
yeah, I think it might have been a case. I mean, if you look at episodic games, though, there haven't been that many examples, but the few that we do have haven't done that well.
Yeah, I mean, Sin's episodes never made it to episode 2.
Yeah.
Telltale does okay, but they sell subscriptions. That Siren game, they released it episodically, but all at once, you know?
Which was ridiculous.
Whatever the case, though, like that structure serves it really well. If it were released like that, if every one of those episodes were something you paid $5-10 for, I think it would be satisfying. They have a discrete beginning and end.
Are there cliffhangers at the end of each episode?
Not really. Nothing too intense anyway. It's more like in most games, a level ends and the next one starts pretty much right where you left off. In this one, the game kind of takes you where it needs to. So you'll end a level in some crazy place full of darkness and demons and shit, and then the next one will start.
Literally shit, or?
And shit, yeah, big piles of it.
Okay.
Because really, I mean, that would be the best clue that they had originally tried to do this episodically, is if at the end of each episode there was some crazy thing that happened that you're like, you can't wait to start the next one.
Right.
Well, I asked them if they, Alone in the Dark did this sort of similar game, horror. They did the same TV episode thing, and I
Previously on blah blah blah.
Right.
I asked if they. I just did an interview, and I asked if they were influenced, and of course they said no, and they'd been
But
planning it from
they
the beginning.
was.
Well, they said they were planning it to do it like this from the
I
beginning.
remember them
so-
talking about this from the beginning.
Yeah.
Even before that game ever came out.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to follow the Lost formula. Everyone's trying to capture that lightning in a bottle.
Right.
So let's talk about the game.
I thought the game would be something, not exactly like it, but something closer to Heavy Rain, where
More puzzle solving, conversation,
interaction,
driven.
yeah, and there is a bit of that, and surprisingly, it doesn't just feel the worst executions of that kind of style. It makes you feel like you're just in a cutscene where you can walk around. It doesn't really feel like that in Alan Wake. They kind of pace them better, and the scenery changes as you're going through those scenarios where you're kind of kept interesting by maybe something that the NPC's doing, maybe something that's happening a bit further off. So that stuff is well done. But yeah, the game it's a straight up action game. I think it's an action game in the sense of the more modern Resident Evil games where you still have to be mindful of conservation. You still feel as if when you get mobbed you're dead. But it's still like hard hitting. The guns feel explosive. You got all these crazy items to use to like incinerate all the zombies. Well, they're not zombies, but you know what I mean. Close enough.
Hillbillies, as you call them in the review.
Yeah, hillbillies.
Now, is this,
Tea Party members.
Now, is this game Luigi's Mansion for adults? That's kind of what it looks like when you watch like videos of it or whatever.
I'm thinking it's a very different Luigi's Mansion for adults.
Yeah,
It's more like it's really like the Resident Evil games without cover, but with a different mechanic to light. Rather than scurrying to a piece of cover when you're getting mobbed, you'll flash your light or you'll drop a flare, and that'll scatter them, and then that allows you to reposition yourself to survive the encounter. So it's kind of like that. It's, I hate to use the term because it's really played out, but it's really visceral, like you're...
Oh, it's like Dead Space and Dante's Inferno.
Exactly.
It's a visceral game.
It's a visceral game. No, yeah, the game, it's scary in that sense, like I'm not the kind to get really spooked out going through like a rickety mansion in a game, but when it comes to combat and then somebody's behind you that you didn't know was there and they get a hit on you, like that freaks me out, and there's a lot of that in this game.
How long did it take you to finish the game?
I'll say like 8 or 9 hours.
And there's no multiplayer component whatsoever, right?
No, there's nothing. At the end, they say, under no ambiguous terms, that there is going to be
DLC, I'm guessing.
DLC was announced.
What does it say? It says Wake's adventures in the darkness will continue. So.
And multiplayer, flashlight tag.
Yeah, right.
Now, is there like a cliffhanger at the end of the game, or do they sew everything up?
Yeah, there kind of is. It's more like a WTF moment, like what's happening. Like I don't quite get it, but
Darkness.
It's one of the. I don't want to talk too much about it because the story is kind of goofy, but finding that out for yourself is kind of fun,
There's actually one thing I wanted to ask, because when I played a little bit, or I saw it at events, and I mean it's pretty much constant narration, right?
Mm-hmm. It kind of fades into the background, to be honest. It didn't really stick out that much to me, but it'll be stuff like when it's convenient for the game designer to tell you to turn around. He's like, I searched the rickety shack, but there was nothing here. And then, it's stuff like that. It's not really that prominent, especially in the later levels when, in some levels, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but there are other people hanging out with you. That kind of takes a back seat. It's more for the scenes where you're completely alone and you're in these big expansive places where you're encouraged to go and like hunt down more ammo or collectibles and stuff. They use it there more.
The game exudes a bit of a Silent Hill vibe. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I'd say that's the brand. I mean,
you go to the small town, you meet the locals, you discover there's some hidden evil there.
Yeah, it's definitely that, but it does have the sort of in-your-face horror of monsters coming at you, because these, there's no question these huge ass dudes with chainsaws could wreck you,
But they're not real, right? They're just shadows. Or
I get the impression that they're possessed. They're possessed by the darkness. They're called the Taken, and
so they're hillbillies.
That's all I got.
Where'd
they get all those hillbillies? How many hillbillies
Inbreeding.
did you kill?
Well, no, like a lot of the
They
game,
multiply at a
part
great
of it is
rate.
in a logging camp. Another part is, you're in an area that's notorious for the poachers, so it's all those guys. These
The poacher's
scary
guild.
ass backwater
The poaching loggers.
Yeah. But yeah, like part of the story too is sometimes when I think it's after the first level, you first encounter a lot of those dudes and you kill them, and then you listen to the in-game radio and they're talking about there was some shooting last night, and later on you meet a cop who says, oh yeah, some guys got killed. What the hell happened?
Where are the cops in all these games? What the hell are they doing?
Dunkin' Donuts.
There's like one
busting
always
kids for wearing
who gets
backpacks.
killed. Like, where are the police forces in these videos?
In this one, they kind of sell it to you like it's a one-horse town, so there isn't much happening, and the cops are kind of bored. But yeah,
they're bored.
one of the cops is a
Possessed hillbillies running around and they're bored.
Yeah, they got their work cut out for them. No, but one of the characters in the game is a cop, and she plays a role in what's going down.
She doesn't call for backup from the Stadies.
Yeah, no shit. There's a Fed too in the game. I don't know if we should talk about it, but yeah, there's a Fed who's kind of a ridiculous character.
So 8 hours, $60. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It's good, yeah. I'm glad I played it. I at this point I've been so curious about it for such a long time that if I hadn't played it now, I probably would pick it up. And yeah,
rent or buy.
You could get by renting this, I think, absolutely. And
is the gameplay compelling enough that you'd want to keep it around for the DLC?
Yeah, I would, especially if they do.
So that means it's a buy.
If they do as good a job,
You can always rent it again when the DLC.
Well, who knows? I
Then
mean,
you might as well buy it.
who knows how many they're going to put out? It's kind of that kind of proposition. But if the DLC are, if those chapters are as well done as the episodes here, and given how the story ended, they could kind of do whatever they want, I think.
Worthy of a sequel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'd be excited to see what they do with the sequel. With maybe expand upon the combat mechanics, allow you to do a little more, mess around with light sources. They could go a lot of really cool ways with this, and yeah, I dig it, man. It's a really good game.
All right, now we're going to talk about Super Mario Galaxy 2. First game got a 9.8 on GT. I think there were some levels in that game that I felt had more ingenuity in them than entire other games. That's quite a pedigree to live up to. We just brought in Mike Damiani and Daniel Bloodworth to talk about it. They've been playing the game. Is it going to live up to expectations based upon what you've played?
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun just sitting there. I mean, I was here till like 2 a.m. getting through all the stuff we did for these gameplays this week. And basically the stipulations, we could do anything from the first 3 worlds. So I just played the heck out of those first 3 worlds and found everything I could. That's all we can talk about right now, too. So
yeah, I only meant to just try it out on Friday. I ended up staying until about.
Oh yeah, I remember at one point you said you were gonna leave.
I'm gonna leave, and then I got to another world, and I was like, man, I just can't stop playing this game. And I was like, finally pulled myself aside. I was like, I gotta go to bed. I'm not playing this anymore.
The first Super Mario Galaxy, when I sat down to review that game, my first sit down with the game ended up being almost 15 hours straight that I played that game. You can't stop. There's something about that franchise. It's not even like you look at it like it's pacing, or you have pacing with like an Uncharted 2 or whatever, where it's like awesome action sequence, here's some shooting, here's another awesome act. It's just this slow burn that it's like they've done like these psychology studies of the human psyche and like what needs to be given to you to just keep you on that breadcrumb trail. It's I can't even explain it, really.
Yeah, well, it's a little small surprises just throughout,
Is Birdo in it?
I haven't seen Umberto. No.
But Luigi. So Luigi was the big reveal yesterday. Or Wednesday.
Yeah, basically Luigi, we can pinpoint a number of stars. Mike and I got him at different points. But basically at a certain point, he'll show up on the starship and say, hey, if you see me around, say hi. And basically, if you go into a level and Luigi's there at the beginning, you can talk to him and play through the level as Luigi instead of as Mario.
Yeah, and I was actually noticing he was showing up more often than I thought he would on a lot of the different worlds that we were able to try out. And, it was fun playing with him. And it's cool that they're letting you have at him earlier on this time than having to wait around for beating the game and going through it again like you had to do in the original Galaxy.
I see that scoring is back as well. That one thing I saw you do. That's pretty new.
There's a challenge in there, and there's actually a lot of different challenges. That's kind of the interesting thing. Every level will have these little portals that will take you to like a challenge room, and you only have so much time in there, and it doesn't really give you an obvious timer. But you just have to like get in there and like try to kill all those enemies as quickly as you can, and then you'll get like 3 1-ups or whatever.
Were you able to figure out what actually gave you the star power up at the beginning of some of those? Because early on,
there's just a star in some of them.
Yeah, I'd get a star and you'd be able to get it easily, and then other ones, it's like I don't know how you're.
Yeah, I mean the rooms the rooms all pretty much look the same, but there's different tricks to the enemies that you have to face. Sometimes you'll have to be using Yoshi. Other times you'll have Goombas that are armored or have some kind of shielding, so you can't just get them with a bounce on their head. What Ryan was talking about was actually a little bit different. You get a mail from this chimp that you saw earlier in the game, and he's like, come try out my challenge, and he's basically you have to get 10,000 points, and the way you get points is just like in an old Mario game by bouncing on the enemy's head. So you have to like chain from one head to the next and use the little spin jump to make it through the air to make it through those gaps.
A little tougher in 3D, I guess.
A little tougher in 3D,
It's
yeah.
definitely a new mentality for a 3D Mario game too.
Yeah.
Like, that was always something you could take out one enemy one at a time, like asking the player to actually go for the high scores. It's interesting. Do you think it worked, or is it a little?
No, it definitely worked. I think once we figured out the trick of like, I have to use the spin in the air to get a little extra distance, and it worked fine.
Any change in how the game is structured from a design perspective?
Very, very much. That's what kind of threw us off, because when they said the first 3 worlds, we're thinking like, the first 3 galaxies or whatever. But no, it's actually like each world is kind of like a Super Mario Brothers 3 world. Okay. So you have a map that's pretty much a 2D map that the starship goes from point to point, and each world has like 6 different galaxies in it, and there are branching paths that, if you collect enough star bits, you can go off to another area and find a world that you couldn't normally get to, and that kind of thing.
It definitely seemed like they took a page from New Super Mario Brothers Wii with the level like structure like that, trying to make it, I think, a little bit more simplified compared to Galaxy, where you had the 3D hub, and it took some effort to get to the next area to just access the stage, where this time it's just right in front of you, and it's very simple and easy.
Yeah, and there seem to be fewer initial stars per galaxy. Like, you would get 1 or 2 stars, and then, all right, on to the next galaxy, and and then you might come back to it later. So,
what's your favorite new power up that you guys used?
I guess it's the cloud suit. Everyone knows that it lets you create new platforms by spinning, and you get 3 clouds per power up. But what I didn't realize until I started playing is that you actually need the cloud suit to stand on clouds. So there are challenging areas where, like, you have enemies chasing you, these cosmic clones chasing you, and it's all over like this pit of like poisonous water. So if one of them hits you, you lose your power up, and because you lose your power up, you fall through the clouds, and you basically have to start that challenge all over again. What I did see is in Starship Mario, there's like a little museum, and for every new power up you get, it like gets put on the shelf, and there are 7 slots. We only got 3 power-ups, and old power-ups like the bee suit and the fire flower, they weren't going into slots.
They don't count.
Yeah.
So there's 7 new power-ups.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like the rock power up.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about that one?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like, oh yeah.
Checking our embargo sheet.
Yeah. No, I like that power up. I like how it rolled around. It's like it's not instantaneous. Like you transform, but then there's a little delay before he actually moves, so you have a little bit of time to aim where you want to go. And I like how you could roll around into multiple enemies and kind of chain them together, and then you could destroy parts of like the level as well. So I found that cool. I mean, the Cloud Mario was cool, but I felt it made things a little too easy. You could jump, like, it increased your long jump, and your jumps were more floaty. So it was cool, but like I like the Rock Mario.
What about Yoshi?
Yoshi, they do a lot of cool stuff with Yoshi right out from the get-go, and that's one of the things like I noticed, because Yoshi's the 2nd level, and it's already fairly advanced. Like if you're gonna just put this in front of like your girlfriend or your mom or something, or even a 5-year-old, it's like there's a lot of bottomless pits here, and like you're having to like point at the screen, and use the analog stick and like shoot Yoshi's tongue out at these flowers to kind of like whip your way up to a higher platform. And there's places where you use Yoshi's tongue to like pull out a platform. You can actually grab Hammer Brothers' hammer and spit it back at him, which I thought was really fun to do. He has this little floaty jump. He has a lot of unique power-ups in the form of different fruits and things. So there's a bulb that lights him up that lets you go through specific areas of the ghost houses, where platforms only appear if they're lit up. There's the blimp fruit that lets him just kind of balloon his way up to new areas. There's the dash pepper, which lets you run on the side of walls and go really fast and things like that. And I'm guessing that, as we get farther into the game, there's probably going to be more Yoshi power-ups as well.
So you'd say they haven't nerfed this game at all? This is for us.
It's challenging. That's why there's the Cosmic Guide. That's why there's the tip TVs, because they are really keeping it challenging and changing it up. I mean, I think that's the thing I've noticed the most is like, every level kind of changes it up and does something new, and then you move on.
And not
to the
just
next
in the
thing.
generic, here's the snow world, here's the lava world.
Right.
Sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's more 2D sections. There's more creative ideas, and there's even Ryan doesn't really like these, but there's even like the kind of tilt flying. There's a tilt flying level in there. There's another one.
No, I'm okay with those. I don't like throwing bombs at trash debris. Any
Oh,
of those?
okay.
That part.
Any of those?
We did find one trash guy where we were just shooting fire flowers, but
okay.
it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, it's more challenging than the first Galaxy, and I think I'm a pretty good Mario player. And
Would you say you're pro?
when I say a pro, I'd say yes.
So it sounds like you've already answered the question, but are you guys more excited or less excited for this game now that you've got it to play a nice little slice of it?
Oh, more excited for sure. Yeah.
yeah, I definitely want to see what lies ahead that we haven't been allowed to play yet.
And I can say without a doubt, I am 100% freaking jumping out of my pants to play this game. Like I can't think of any other game on the immediate horizon I'm more excited to play than this game. So won't be long. I'm going to dive in soon, and you guys probably won't see me for a few days. Pantless. I'll come back up for air and share my my experiences with you guys. But looking pretty good so far.
Hey, how's it going? This is Keith Abacari. I'm here at GameTrailers hanging out, and I heard that they had a King of Fighters 12 sit-down arcade cabinet, so I showed up last night really early, and I'm getting kind of tired. I think I should go take a nap.
All right, next we have a very special guest on the show today. His name is Keith Abacari. You may or may not have heard of him. He's been making some videos on the interwebs now for a little while. Keith, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is a very nice place you have here.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's very fancy. It's like the Ritz of video game sites in this building. I like it.
Now,
very nice.
Now, what got you started making videos for video games in general?
Well, these guys who make documentaries actually contacted me because I guess through a friend of a friend, they're like, you gotta check out this guy. He's very interesting and he loves video games, and I think it'd be a good thing for you guys to film. So these guys contacted me and they were like, hey, we heard you're an interesting subject matter, and I was like, okay, I've never been called that before, but thanks. And they showed up and they started filming me. So now these guys do this documentary called Talking Classics. And people think that I do the documentary, but really I don't. It's just these guys show up and they film me. So, yeah, then I get let loose at conventions and stuff, and they follow me around. It's pretty fun.
Now, I think my favorite video of yours was your video from E3 last year.
Oh yes. One of the days where I should have been arrested. That was a week where I was surprised I wasn't being arrested or kicked out of that
You were
place.
pretty tired.
I was very tired. I started falling asleep all over the place, and I started using like the Wii pads as mattresses and pillows, and that wasn't going over so well. People were getting mad at me, and I was like holding up big lines because there was like a big line of people waiting to play Uncharted 2, and I was just snoozing away on the chair, and that wasn't going over so well. But hey, when are we gonna do it? The place is huge, and I was falling down, tripping over stuff, and I needed to take a nap. I needed to take a break.
Now, have you been diagnosed as narcoleptic, or?
I diagnosed myself that day. I just dubbed myself asleep all the time, and then I just crashed.
Do you also self-medicate or?
With sleep. Sleep is the best medication, I think. Or hitting the ground hard, that knocks you out cold. I do that a lot.
I thought SNK was the best medicine.
SNK is a good medicine, but that's not for illnesses. That's like for when you're too healthy. That's when you get on the SNK so then you can thrash some buttons. Yeah.
Now, you also had quite an adventure at Comic-Con. Was that last year where you met Peter Jackson?
Yeah, that was last year. I wasn't so lucky that day. I got kicked out big time. I was roughed up a little bit. A guy actually hit me in the face, one of the security guards. But I think that was like his one and only moment where he could like do his job and be like, yes, I got a moment to like be tough and be cool. And so I was being dragged off the stage very fast, and I still had the cup of water in my hand. I was like, I got to drink my water. That's what I came here for. And I tried drinking it, and he slapped it out of my face. And as he did that, he hit me in the face and broke my glasses. So, yeah, this guy was pretty tough.
But what's James Cameron really like?
James Cameron, he seemed like a cool guy. He was actually pretty nice. And Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson seemed even nicer. James Cameron just seemed kind of like bewildered. So.
I was also a little curious. Did you hear the news about like Sega's kind of shutting down some of its productions, focusing on the iPhone? Do you have any opinion? I know you're a pretty big Sega fan.
Wait, they're shutting down like production on other games to focus on the iPhone? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it's kind of what we've heard. They've just laid off a bunch of people, at least in the U.S.
Oh, I'm going to need a good dose of SNK actually now because I'm not feeling so good hearing that. I'm going to need the medicine. You guys got some arcade games in here, right?
Yeah.
Can I just go tickle some buttons for a second because I need a dose? I don't know how I feel about that. That's depressing. Like once I found after the Dreamcast stopped and they heard that they weren't making the Dreamcast 2, that was a heavy blow, and this is another big heavy blow. I don't know. Whatever. I don't have an iPhone. I have a Tiger LCD game. I can't call friends on it, but it's my friend. I can talk to it. So
now, what are your favorite games of all time, would you say?
My favorite games of all time, definitely Metal Slug 1, the first Metal Slug, is awesome. The other Metal Slugs are really fun, but they just start getting kind of crazy with the zombies and throwing up and stuff, which is awesome. Like, why would you deny a puking zombie as a weapon? Using your body and your vomit as a tool to destroy guys, that's really cool. But the first one, it's just so good. I love it. I don't know. It's just because it's the first one, I guess. It's always the best one. I love Sonic. I mean, I'm into Mario and Nintendo and stuff, but I like Sega more. I think it's because I just had a Sega when I was little, and I kind of skipped Nintendo. I went from, am I talking too fast? Can you guys keep up with me?
I think it's okay.
Following.
Okay, nice. So I went from Atari 2600 to Sega Genesis, and then shortly after that, I got a Master System. And I discovered that Sonic 1 and 2 were on that, and I was like, this is cool, 8-bit version of an awesome game. Gotta slow it down so I can actually, because sometimes 16-bit games on Sega, it's like too fast for me, so it's nice to take a Sunday afternoon and play a good Master System game.
It's that blast processing.
Yeah, the blast processing definitely blasts my processor away. Sega Genesis is the man. He's a cool guy. I'm into the Genesis and Neo Geo. So I don't know, if I was to pick like 3 top favorite games, I'd say Samurai Showdown 4, Metal Slug 1, and Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
Do you like any modern games? Do you play 3D games at all?
I do like modern games. I have to say that I am a huge fan of Trials HD on Xbox 360. Like, that is addicting. Big time addicting. That's really fun. What else am I playing on there? I played that game Blur the other day. That was pretty cool. It was like a real life Mario Kart for like guys who do graffiti and stuff. Like, those guys could get into that. Or guys that get girls pregnant. Like, they could play that game because they can keep their street cred.
I'm thinking about like the systems and games you like. Can you look into your crystal ball? What do you think the PSP Go's future is going to be? Seems like
I think it's going to PSP go away pretty fast is what it's going to do. I mean, I have a portable GameCube that I wear on my waist that gives me like cuts and bruises. I like systems that are huge. I like the Sega Nomad. I think portable games, the bigger the better. Like, if I could walk around with a 50-inch flat screen TV and put some buttons on the front, I would carry that around. I think the bigger the better. So PSP Go, it's kind of too small.
Now, what's next for you?
I'm just always getting all kinds of junk, and I want to talk about it. And I also, this is pretty cool, it has nothing to do with video games, but I built an amazing fort bed in my room. Some people have seen the twirly slide that I have coming off my bunk bed. Well, now my bunk bed is over 7 feet off the ground. I built it on stilts all by myself. Whatever, no big deal. It's easy for me to do manly things because that's the kind of guy I am. I have a receding hairline, and that equals out my manliness. The less hair you have, the more manly. That's what my mom said. I think she's just trying to boost my confidence, but it makes me look a little bit more manly. Anyways, now that I have this cool haircut, I can do manly things because I look like a man. So, yeah, I built this bed 7 feet off the ground, and I'm building a slide that is going to come. I won't give it away because you'll see it in the episode. It's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be like a mini Wally World in my room. Chevy Chase is going to be sliding off my bed. It's going to be awesome.
Now, I heard something about you're working on a TV show?
Oh, yeah. Actually, a certain network on the television TVs has been shown interest in me and am now developing a TV show with them. It's official. It was like all in the talks in the work. It was in the works recently, or the past year. I guess it's not very recently. Well, I guess currently, I should say. What's a word? What's a word that works?
Of late.
Nowadays.
Now of late days, I have been working on a TV show, and it's official. So now I'm getting down to business. Gonna start writing some stuff with myself in the show. So look for that. Hopefully it will go. These things are crazy. Like, I guess you write the show, but then you don't know if it's gonna be on TV, and then you film it. You still don't know if it's gonna be on TV. Hopefully it will go all the way through. But now there's paperwork, so that's cool. That's cool. I try not to drool on it too much so I don't smudge my own signature and they'll think I'm doing a show with Bleef Flabby Gary. I probably shouldn't draw attention to these things. People probably don't even notice. I'm making it worse for myself and digging my own grave here.
Any message you want to send out to the Game Trailers Massive?
Yes, actually, I have this friend named Allison Gazzoni. She's back in Massachusetts. I'm from Rhode Island, and she was my friend back there. And she needs heart surgery, and her insurance won't cover it, which is a bummer. And she has like a lot of medical bills. Like, she had cancer when she was in high school, and that complicated her heart. And now she's like trying to raise money, and she's a big time gamer, like a huge gamer, and she's a babe. So it's like, even alone, even if she didn't play video games and she only like played with calculators or something, then people wouldn't want to donate. But now that people know she's a gamer, it's kind of helping, which is cool. I mean, it's whatever, that's kind of wrong, but who cares? It's true. So yeah, she's a babe gamer. She's really cool, and she's supposed to go to E3 3 this year, so I'm trying to help her do that and help her keep playing video games and keep her going. So yeah, I'm raising money for his heart surgery, and I had an auction. My friend built an arcade cabinet it was a custom Talking Classics Keith Apicary MAME arcade cabinet that sold for like $1,500. Zach Galifianakis and a bunch of other guys donated some comedy stuff. The Reno 911 guys donated stuff. So I'm raising money in any way I can. There's a donation site where you can donate money, and the goal was $8,500. And she still has other bills. She has 2 procedures that she has to get, and she just went to the hospital last night, I heard, because she had blood clots in her legs and like the circulation. Her body's a mess because of this heart. So once the operation happens, she should be good. Then she has a couple more procedures, trying to raise some money. So if anyone can donate, that'd be great. Sorry, that was a whole ton of words, but it's hard to get the whole story out real quick.
Now, where
help.
can they go to donate?
They can go to the website. The website is called RaiseItNow.com, and you can. I don't know if there's probably a / Allison Gazzoni or whatever after.
We'll put the URL up.
If you guys can put the URL, that would be good. Then they can just go click on the URL and check it out. So, yeah. Help if you can. She's a really cool girl, and I love to help her. And the gaming community has been awesome. And so far, everyone, all these kids are like, yeah, I'll totally help out. And it makes me feel good to be a video game player when people are that cool and they're helping out with someone they don't even know.
And speaking of girls, man, is your sister annoying or what?
Yeah,
I don't think most people consider her annoying.
I think this guy might.
I consider her an idiot. She's pretty annoying to me, but it's my sister. I like her. I mean, I deal with her because she's my sister. I have to. She's cool, I guess. But she kind of gets in my business, and she takes down my high scores, and I can't really have that. For some reason, girls are naturally good at video games. Like I have found. I have friends that they destroy me on mini games on the new Mario and DS. She's so good at that, and I hate it. And she takes down my scores, and that makes me look like an idiot. She's like 13, and she's beating me. But whatever, guys seem to be into her, so that's cool. I'm happy for her. Just don't touch her because she's 13. So unless you're 13, that's cool. And otherwise, I don't want to be around if that's happening. I want babies flirting with each other near me. That's disgusting. So,
all right, Keith. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. Everyone, definitely check out the donation site to donate some money to help Keith's friend. You'll be seeing lots of more of Keith going forward. Very good. A lot of good luck to you, Keith.
Thank you.
Good luck with raising money for your friend.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys. This was fun. I'm going to go touch some fancy equipment on the way out.
All right, so now we're going to talk about the biggest story of the week, which was Bungie and Activision's little agreement, contract, deal.
French kiss.
Yeah. Doesn't this kind of make and for those of you that don't know, basically, Bungie is going to start making games for other platforms other than the Xbox 360, and Activision is going to publish those games.
Is it all of their games or just one series?
It sounded to me like it's a new series.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
Oh, it's not going to be Halo. Halo is not.
It's definitely not Halo.
But I think they could still go to other publishers as well.
Oh, so it's not an exclusivity deal. It's just one particular franchise. So I thought they had signed like a 10-year deal.
Yeah, what was that about?
I think it's Bungie retains the rights to whatever they're developing.
They own the IP.
Yeah.
Right. So, big news, obviously. Well, one, I think we can all see now why maybe Activision treated Infinity Ward the way it did the last few months.
I don't know.
I don't think we can accept it or understand it, but I think now maybe we can see more clearly why we were like, what? Why would you do that? They're your moneymaker. Well, obviously this deal was in the works for a long time with Bungie, and they sort of had them in their back pocket the whole time. So I'm sure in some way, shape, or form it affected the whole Infinity Ward thing, which, by the way, we're starting to hear rumblings that it might as well be over for Infinity Ward. Almost everyone is left at this point.
Heard the secretary is still there.
And these are just rumors, by the way, that I just hear through various sources, but it sounds like Infinity Ward may just not even exist. They're not going to Infinity.
Well, they're going to Respawn.
Right. So things are going really bad. Things have gone from bad to worse as far as the Activision Infinity Ward thing, and then out of the blue comes this Bungie thing. First of all, do any of you guys remember Bungie games that weren't Halo?
Yeah, I mean, I played Myth back in the day. Actually, when I was a huge Linux nerd, I bought a Myth 2 for Linux from Loki Games, which had the weird kind of like
anime. It is pretty solid.
Anime cutscenes, and the characters were sprites, but you could still pan around them in 3D, so they just had like 8 different perspectives.
I mean, and there was
I played some Marathon. Oh,
which was awful.
Not a
Oni
good
had-
game.
Which really isn't that the most recent non-Halo Bungie game, Ani?
It could be. I
think it is. And that game was pretty awful.
because Myth 3 went to Raven, I think.
I think it only kind of had cool controls and stuff.
tutorial
but just
was
as a
fun,
game, it
and then the game
just didn't
itself
quite
was-
work.
Yeah, not great.
But everyone, you got to get your break.
So how do you guys feel about this? I mean, do you think Bungie can even replace an Infinity Ward at this point? I mean, do you think they're going to make a shooter? Do you think they're going to make an action adventure?
RTS. Halo started as an RTS.
You're right.
I just don't want them to make another shooter.
I don't either.
I mean, they have Halo. Halo's fine.
And they've already branched that series off. They did ODST, which was sort of a different spin on the shooter. I mean, they kind of have already covered that ground. What kind of game would you guys like to see from them?
Whatever they want to make, they would know. If
Tower
they want to try
defense.
something different, they could probably. Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
iPad.
Vehicle combat game.
Well,
I think there's
they've already did that in
enough.
Halo,
There's
really.
almost enough of everything. I mean, I couldn't really say, I want to see Bungie's take on, whatever. I mean, if they feel strongly about trying a new genre, I'm sure they could make a.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're talented dudes. I don't feel like they're gonna, just fuck everything up and throw away everything they were good at.
I think Halo is interesting because I think people forget the stupid subtitle sometimes that Combat Evolved, but Halo pretty much gave us say goodbye to health, get ready for regenerating shields or regenerating health, say goodbye to having 12 different weapons that you can choose, having some strategic design for how you're going to carry your weapons. I feel like they really could tackle another genre. I mean, there's some smart guys there, and that studio's been around a long time. I know a lot of people just know them for Halo, but they have some a lot of people sing high praises of Myth and Marathon and stuff like that.
A long time ago, though. I mean, you got to imagine
they
at
still
this
have
point there's a lot of turnover there.
They still have some of the core guys, though. And then again, some guys went to go make the Shadowrun first-person shooter, which was not so good. But
right, so is that a harbinger or?
I don't know. I feel like they definitely they have money, so they could definitely kickstart a couple projects, and then whatever does well, they could nurture on. I think tackling a new genre would definitely be interesting. I hope they don't do a shooter.
Who do you think's next to do something like this? Naughty Dog, Insomniac?
Wasn't Insomniac the big rumor just a couple months ago?
It's been thrown around a couple
But
times.
they seem so happy.
They're not even a second. Does Sony own any share of them? Are they a second party at all?
I don't believe so. I don't think they have any financial stake. We'll have to research that and find out. But
No, they're like the best employer of California or something like
right,
that, right?
It's the best company to work for in California, I believe, is what they've won the last couple years. I think running, they've won that award. But I mean, I agree with Damiani. I don't want to see him do another shooter. I mean, the other thing about Halo is that there are kind of little elements of other genres in there already. There's already vehicular combat, a little bit of racing and things like that. So, action adventure based upon Ani. Do we want to see that again? I mean, that was back when they had...
if you're saying, Myth was so long ago, that was so long ago. You can't, it's not relevant anymore.
Ani wasn't that long ago. That was a 3D
It was a while back.
action adventure game.
That was a while back.
They've been
More than 5 years.
They've been brought on to bring the Mass Effect killer to Activision. There you go.
Well, that's the one thing about Halo is that it's one of those games where you can just play it as a Twitch action game and be like, kill the Covenant, kill the Flood. But I mean, there is a there is a wealth of backstory. These guys definitely know how to paint their universe for better or for worse. I've read random pages from the Halo novels, and they're quite funny. But they could totally flesh something out. Wasn't there rumors of a Halo MMO back in the day as well?
Yeah.
Maybe that got killed, but maybe they'd want to do an MMO. Who knows?
Here's the scary thing, though, right? Activision lost Infinity Ward, so they're probably looking to fill that void with another game of that type. So you wonder if there's going to be pressure from Activision to push Bungie to make another shooter.
Yeah, I think they're going to... I mean, it's kind of how, id kind of, Well, id was bought by ZeniMax Bethesda, and they stopped doing their shooters for Activision because they felt there was conflict of interest. Maybe they'll just move Treyarch into that position. I mean, I feel like we rag on Treyarch, but I mean, their games are fine.
No, they make solid games.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about
solid
it.
shooters.
They just don't have that extra level of whatever that intangible thing is that makes good games great. I think that's probably the one thing I would say. But I don't know if there's an instance in the industry in the last several years of where a company handled things more poorly than the way Activision handled Infinity Ward. I mean, to me, that is the biggest epic fail in the last several years of our industry. I mean, more so than even the PSP Go, I would venture to say. I mean, that's tough.
It's going to be the big whipping boy for this episode.
The PSP Go.
Yeah.
Keith Apicary said it was going to go away. That's where it's going.
It'll be interesting to watch, though. I certainly hope that Activision lets Bungie do their thing, lets them create the game that they want. I hope we don't end up with some Modern Warfare clone with them just trying to fill that every other year gap that Infinity Ward was sort of supplying, with Treyarch. So.
Well, I mean, Activision has a big back library too, so I think Bungie could do a really cool version of like maybe Kaboom or
Stampede,
or Pitfall, or that overhead
I'd still
boxing
play
game.
Stampede.
It would be pretty sweet.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode. It seems like it was short for some reason.
You're crazy.
Yeah? Maybe I'm just having too much fun today. We
got those pants.
We do have something special to give to you guys. We have some Halo Reach beta codes. Now, we don't have a ton of them, so get on your horses, boys. And to those of you who skip to the end of the show, hoping for the codes, you're a winner today. So, Ryan, tell them how they can get the codes.
Well, Shane, they can go to invisiblewalls.gametrailers.com. Leave a message on our new blog. I'll private message you, and I'm going to ask for your Xbox Live account, and you'll get a code if you're one of the first dudes.
Yeah, if you're listening to this or watching this on Saturday, you're too late, bro. We don't have enough, unfortunately. But get on over there, invisiblewalls.gametrailers.com. Get your codes,
and
have
leave
fun.
a message for On the Hook as well.
Yeah, sure.
Some
questions
good
for
questions.
On the Hook. We did not have it in the show this week, but it will return next week, so make sure you ask your questions there. Do not ask them in the comments section of the video. Go to invisiblewalls.gametrailers.com. That's it. E3's coming up. We have some huge E3 news to announce very, very soon. Just getting our ducks in a row on some stuff. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Invisible Walls is up and out.